Welcome into a special edition of the Big Fight Breakdown. That's right, we're coming to you from the ProBox TV Event Center. We have a big fight coming up this evening, right, as we always do on our Wednesdays. But more than that, the press conference for Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga. We're going to bring it to you live as it happens. Of course, Jimmy Smith, live with the champs, Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi. Gentlemen, I'm going to have a little sign here, right, that says, convince me different, right? Change my mind, change my opinion. When we see this press conference, is it to you guys for the fans or is it for your opponent? I think it's for the fans. I think these guys are professionals. It's very hard to get under somebody's skin who is a professional. I'm curious, before it all kicks off, what you think about it, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I hate press conferences. I used to hate them so much, especially toward the end of my career. You've been to one, you've been to them all. This guy's going to say something different because he made press conferences very, very fun.
They were fun. A Paulie Malignaggi press conference was always worth checking out.
Those are a lot more fun than what I was used to, and for the most part, what we're used to seeing. And yeah, I think it's more for the fans. It's also for the promoters because they always get thanked by 100 different people. They talk about themselves, but press conferences for me were never a whole lot of fun. But yeah, they can be. On to this guy.
Paulie, for example, you enjoy getting under fighters' skins.
I like just feeling the emotion of it's here. You know, you've been training for months for this fight, for this moment, and now all the fight week festivities, including the press conference, it solidifies the fact that it's here. So I like that feeling, like, okay, you know, it's fight week press conference. You know, you got to put on your cool outfits, your cool sunglasses, and all your jewelry, and you know, you've been
it's a fashion thing for you.
Yeah, you've been locked up in camp, you know, and now you get to be this guy, and you know, I don't know. It didn't really have an effect as far as the psychology of the fight, in my opinion. I think maybe your first time around, your first go-around, which is interesting because this is probably Berlanga's first go-around. There we go, right here.
Look what you did.
Champ knows.
Look what you did. Okay.
We're doing press conferences, so.
That's it.
You cool sunglasses.
But maybe in Berlanga's case, it's his first real big moment in a fight week. So maybe you're keen on watching his mannerisms or how he's behaving, probably just a little bit more. But otherwise, I mean, for Canelo, this is like Champ said. I mean, you've been the one to been them all. It's whatever. I mean, it's whatever happens. You know, we'll deal with it. But yeah, I mean, for the fans, more so than anything, for the fans, Jimmy, like you said. I mean, for the fans, it also has that feeling of being juiced up, or the moment is here. You know, a lot of fans have been waiting for a lot of weeks for these kind of fights. You know, so it's like, oh, it's finally here.
When you got big fights, fight weeks are a big deal for, and you said for the fans, because listen, I've said this over and over on our shows. I've been to a ton of Canelo Alvarez fight weeks in Las Vegas. They're fun. And the fans come out early in the week, much more so than a lot of other big fight weeks where you go everywhere, and there is fans. Boxing fans are flush in every casino around Las Vegas in the area. People come out early. We're looking at the press conference now live. You can see all those people there. It's not just press row. The public is there as well, and there's a vibe and there's an energy to it. So yeah, it is for the fans. It's part of the experience leading up to fight night. So it's just one more event for the fan bases to get used to or get to see their favorite fighters.
Well, you already have a peek. Let's take a listen inside to the press conference as it gets started. Canelo versus Berlanga.
Alvarez!
I can break off. I'm still going to see you Saturday night when the bell rings. For me, it wasn't a big deal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
get to punch you in the face later, so.
I thought that was overrated.
We are so excited to see pound-for-pound great Saul Canelo Alvarez defending his unified WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight championship of the world on the line against the undefeated WBA #1 ranked super middleweight Edgar Berlanga. PBC on Prime Video. The pay-per-view begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time. From T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Tickets are available at AXS.com. They are going quickly. It is a stacked card from top to bottom featuring 6 current or former world champions. Co-main event at Islandi Lara will defend his WBA middleweight championship of the world on the line against the 2-division world champion looking to become 3-division world champion from Philadelphia, PA, Danny Garcia. Also in the super middleweight division, Caleb Plant, the former IBF super middleweight champion, will go head-to-head against the undefeated Trevor McCumbee, that being for the interim WBA super middleweight championship of the world. To begin the pay-per-view, the always entertaining and former super lightweight champion of the world, Rolando Rolly Romero, in action against Manuel Jaimes, who has won 4 in a row. Before we go live on pay-per-view at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific time, preceding the pay-per-view will be an action-packed PBC card on Prime Video, free starting at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific time. And it'll feature former unified super bantamweight champion of the world, Stephen Fulton Jr., taking on the always entertaining Carlos Castro. As we mentioned, the event comes your way from T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas. In addition to the pay-per-view being available for purchase on Prime Video, regardless of Prime membership, fans will have the opportunity to purchase it via DAZN.com, PPV.com, and traditional cable and satellite outlets. And the event promoted by Canelo Promotions, TGB Promotions, in association with Matchroom Boxing. A very big thank you to our sponsors. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. VMC Tequila Cocktails, El Origen.
As Ray Flores goes over the details of the card, we know that backwards and forwards. You know, if you're Berlanga, if you're one of the fighters, once again, Macombi doesn't have a lot of big fight experience. What's going through your mind right now? Paul, you talked about it feeling big, right? This is when it starts feeling real. It starts feeling big. Who does that have an effect on when you look at that podium? Some guys have been there, some haven't. What's the difference?
Yeah, I think when you've been there, you feel big, but you're also like, I'm where I belong. You know, like I'm used to this. You know, when you haven't been there, you're telling yourself this is the moment. You should be, at least you should be telling yourself these are moments that you knew would eventually happen. These were always your goals, so you always felt like you would be on these kind of podiums eventually, and so you can feel like you belong as well. There's a mind game you play on each side, but there's mind games that you play correctly so that you can get yourself in the proper frame of mind for the fight week, and that will lead eventually into the actual fight. So in terms of Macombi, for example, if I was on an undercard of a fight like this, I would pretend in my mind that the show was about me. So I would look at, like, you know, okay, these guys are the main event, but really I'm going to steal the show. Even if I wasn't going to steal the show, in my mind I was like, everybody's going to be here for me. And sometimes at the press conference I'd be able to do that because I was kind of a mouthy guy, you know.
Oh, we know.
But you know, on fight night, you know, the main event always steals the show. But still, if I could get myself in that mindset where everybody's here for me, everything's there for me, even if it's not, that's how I would get myself in that frame of mind to eventually one day hopefully be there, which, you know, eventually it happens.
Yeah, but it's funny you say that because so all right, I was going to say this about Berlanga. So not only is this his biggest fight, this is his first world title fight.
Yeah. So
I was a world champion. I had a world title fight. I had a world title experience being in a press conference before my big fight, before my biggest fight. So I fought Provodnikov. I was a world title fight. I won that fight, and then I fought Pacquiao, which for Edgar, he's got both of those in one event. Mm-hmm. He's fighting for a world title for the very first time in his career, and he's also fighting a living legend at the same time. So he's got that against him as well in terms of this first experience. But it's so funny the way that you mentioned that every undercard I fought on after that, my first experience being in a press conference, I was the man. You know, I was the main event. I was fighting for a world title. Sure, I wasn't the man that night. You know, people didn't think I was going to win that fight, but I did. So from then on, every dais I ever took, the show was always about me. I had always been, the only time I'd ever been in a press conference, I was the main event. So even when I wasn't the main event, I chose to decide to think that I was always the guy that people were there for.
Well, now Eddie Hearn, of course, on the lectern. Let's hear what he has to say.
And when someone really, really has, as you guys say, the cojones to take this guy on for real, not talk about it, not come to survive 12 rounds, but when these two look each other in the eye, excuse my French, you know they just want to fuck each other up. This guy to my left is here to fight. I've been involved in so many of these fights, sometimes on this side, sometimes on this side. When I turned up yesterday, I saw the most determined, most confident, and most ballsy challenger I've seen yet taking on this guy in Edgar Berlanga. I know what Canelo Alvarez wants at this stage in his career. He wants a real fight. He will get a real fight on Saturday night. This guy is 22-0, he's undefeated, he's young, he has 0 miles on the clock, 15 consecutive first-round knockouts, he punches hard, he's got an underrated boxing IQ as well. And when we signed him, we said one thing, 2 headline fights, and then the shot at Canelo Alvarez. Everything has happened beautifully. We want to thank PBC, Tom, Louis, Team Canelo for the opportunity, and it's a massive opportunity. This is like the lottery ticket of boxing. We're in Las Vegas. It's where you roll the dice. But we're not coming to roll the dice. We're coming to collect the winning ticket. And I promise you, the atmosphere in the T-Mobile on Saturday night is going to be incredible. Thank you to Amazon, of course, our partners, DAZN. Another massive week ahead of Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dubois in front of 96,000 next week at Wembley Stadium. What a time for boxing. This is a great fight, and the man to my left is here to win. He will give you action on Saturday night. Don't rule him out. Enjoy the show, and good luck to all. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Sport. And now, on my left, when we have a winning formula, they're undefeated. The man that leads Edgar Berlanga to the ring, his esteemed trainer, here is Mark Ferre.
First of all, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And once again, we're very happy for this opportunity, as any other fight camp will be in our position. We train very hard. Mostly, we know that this fight is not about physicality, size. We know, as Canelo said many times, he never said Edgar's a bad fighter. He never said, things in the sort of his physical attributes. He spoke about experience, and he spoke about intelligence, which he thinks Edgar has none of. Well, we're here to make a statement. We're here to show the world that September 14th, you're going to see a lot of experience, you're going to see a lot of patience, but you're going to see a lot of execution. We're not going to take away Edgar's explosiveness. It's going to be right there for him. And Canelo's smart. Canelo's not going to come out and fight him right away. That's impossible. Because if he does, it's going to be a fire shoot early on. But as he said in many of his interviews, right, that he's a better fighter now than he was when he was 24. Why is that? Intelligence, experience, passive aggressiveness. That's what Edgar's going to have September 14th. We had a great camp, and believe me, we are grateful to Team Canelo for giving us this opportunity, because it's an opportunity to knock the king off the throne. Every king's reign comes to an end. But I know, as I told Edgar, he ain't gonna want to give it to no Puerto Rican. And if we think that Canelo doesn't have it, oh, he's coming. We want the best of him, because when we beat him Saturday night, we don't want to say he's an old Canelo, he was, too many fights on his belt. And let's keep in mind, he had 25 defenses. That's more than Edgar has in his career as a fighter. But I believe in my kid. I believe in my guy. The same way Reynoso brung Canelo up, I brung Edgar up. This is not only a fight for Edgar, but I had to do my homework against Reynoso, who's a great trainer. We have a lot of similarities. And Saturday, you're gonna see Edgar perform. And just like you, I'm gonna be a fan, because I guarantee you're gonna see something that not even I've seen. So it's gonna be a very exciting fight. Don't overlook him, man. Media can say what they want, they can do what they want. The Bible says, right, that the Lord is gonna prepare you at a table before your enemies. The world's against Edgar. He's sitting right here. And you guys are his enemies. And guess what? You're gonna see the glory. This kid worked very hard. The same way like Canelo did. So I know September 14th, the world's gonna get a great fight. A great fight. And I guarantee at the end of that fight, Canelo's gonna walk him and say, you're a great young fighter. So I wanna thank Canelo, PBC, and we'll see you September 14th.
All right, thank you very much to Mark Ferre. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I want to acknowledge Edgar Berlanga Sr., who is on stage. Round of applause to Edgar Berlanga Sr. And also Keith Connolly, Edgar Berlanga's manager as well. Keith Connolly joining us here on the stage as well. Now let's meet some members of Team Canelo. You heard from one half of the winning formula on our main event. Now let's meet the other half. Speaking of a winning formula, that's all that this team has done. As I bring up the legendary trainer of Saul Canelo Alvarez, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Jose Chepo Reynoso.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Gracias a todos ustedes por su asistencia.
Thank you all for coming.
A lo largo de los años que tengo, que ya son muchos,
I've been around this sport
me ha
for a
tocado
long
ver
time,
muchos grandes campeones
and I've gotten to see a
puertorriqueños.
lot of champions.
Desde la época de Carlos Ortiz, los que son viejos como yo seguramente se acuerdan de Carlos Ortiz. Tremendo campeón, y me tocó ver alguna vez pelear con Ultiminio Ramos, otro México-cubano. Grandes campeones ha habido, de gran respeto. ¿Quién no se acuerda de Wilfredo Gómez, de Wilfredo Benítez?
What do you think of the comments, Chris, of Berlanga's coach? A little bit of the, not happy to be here, but, thanks for the opportunity. You want to get that out of the way, but confidence coming from the coach. I know that's what he's supposed to project, but it seems like the whole team is at least projecting the same thing, fair or not?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of respect for Canelo. He's been there, he's done that. Listen, Mark Ferre, I don't think he's the guy who's going to go out there and be, screaming from the rooftops, my guy's going to knock you out, better be prepared. That's not really his style. That's not his, the way that he approaches these kinds of things. But again, this is his first time here. He could have shown up and been that guy if he wanted to be, but he obviously chose to be more respectful, which I understand. But at the same time, it's going to come down to Berlanga's attitude. I'd see how he responds when he's up at that dais, because I think I'm going to take a lot more from that than I am from the coaching.
Yeah, when you look at it, what do you think of the advice in terms of pacing? Where you said, look, Canelo's not going to come out and sling guns with my kid who's younger and stronger. It's going to be a late kind of fight. What's your thought on that, Paulie?
Yeah, I think Mark played it very, very well, actually.
Yeah.
I thought he was respectful enough, but also confident enough, too. Let him know, like, hey, man, don't overlook my kid. I've had this kid since the beginning. I know this kid both as an individual, as a person, and as a fighter. And I know, basically, he's letting you know, I know how to push his buttons. I know what makes him tick. And when he's ticking, he's good. He's good, so don't overlook him. I actually like that. I enjoy that because now it's like you start to think, like, oh, you know what? They don't have this kind of run by night relationship. Like, oh, he just went with a big name trainer for the fight, like a Jaime Munguia. This is they have a friendship, they have a bond, and which means that Edgar believes in Mark with all his heart, not just his mind, because there's that bond friendship from the early going of Edgar's career. And if Mark is telling me to look out, then it's like, oh man, that's important. That's impressive. It's something to keep in mind. I thought he played it very well.
Eddie Reynoso, let's hear what he has to say on the dais now.
Room to Berlanga's team and to my team as well for making all this happen.
Nos hemos preparado bastante bien para esta pelea porque sabemos que todos los jóvenes que vienen empujando fuerte en el boxeo. We've tried hard for this fight. We've trained hard for this fight because we know that there's a young fighter out here, like many other young fighters that are trying to come up here in boxing. Así como Edgar Berlanga quieren ganarle al campeón, nosotros estamos conscientes de todo ello. Sabemos que Edgar es un peleador fuerte, un peleador con muchas ganas, como todos los que han peleado con Saúl.
Edgar Berlanga is one of those young fighters, a strong young fighter that wants to prove himself against someone like Saúl.
Por eso hicimos las cosas de la mejor manera, con mucha conciencia, sabiendo de que tenemos enfrente un gran oponente, pero nosotros confiamos en nuestro trabajo, confiamos en nuestro campeón y el sábado esperamos llevarnos la victoria.
That's why we've done things very thoroughly, knowing that we have a really hungry, good opponent in front of us, but we also know that we're here to make history and that we have everything in front of us as well.
Y pues de nuevo gracias a todos los que están involucrados y que sigan apoyando como siempre al boxeo y pues que viva México el sábado una vez más.
Once again, thank you to all involved. Keep supporting boxing. Viva Mexico once again.
Gracias.
All right, thank you very much to Eddie Reynoso. Also, I want to acknowledge from Premier Boxing Champions, Mr. Louis DeCubas Jr. as well.
Chris, having heard from both coaches, you talked about that trainer relationship. At what point in the fight do you think that will kind of rear its head? When things go wrong, during tough rounds? When do you think that trainer relationship, and both guys have a close one with their trainers, with their respective trainers, when do you think that raises its head in a fight itself?
I think for Berlanga and Mark, it's going to be after round one. In between rounds, when we first get to see what the communication is like, depending on how round one went, how the game plan's going, how relaxed, how calm they are, how hyped they are. I think that's going to be really important to see how they control the emotions of the event that night. For Canelo and Reynoso, man, they've been doing this together for so long. They generally have a very calm corner. So I don't think we're going to see anything so much from then until later in the fight when it's either time to make an adjustment because things aren't going well, or to go in there and look for the kill?
When you look at it, Paulie, Berlanga, of course, young, strong, undefeated. Is it a matter of maybe holding him down in those early rounds? We saw Munguia have success early and kind of blow his gas tank a little bit, outboxing Canelo early, which he did. Is it about, cooling the young buck down? Don't get him to sprint too hard early.
I don't know, man. I think, when it comes to what you got, what's in front of you. Canelo is an older guy, so I think you got to know what's in front of you. Let's hear Berlanga right now.
For the opportunity. It's going to be a fight this weekend, man. I got a lot of doubters out there, people that don't believe in me, but Saturday night we're going to make them believers. It's going to be a big night. You got Puerto Rico versus Mexico. You got me and Canelo, Puerto Rican superstar and Mexican superstar. So we're going at it this weekend. It's going to be a fight. Like I said, man, all glory to God. Jesus is King. And thank you guys. I love y'all, man. See y'all Saturday.
Thank you very much to Edgar Berlanga. And now I bring a man up to the stage that has done this many, many times over again. His record, 61 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the reigning and defending WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight champion of the world desde Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. Presentando Saúl Canelo Álvarez.
Thank you so much. I don't have much to say. I just want to thank everybody for coming, support boxing, support me. Thank you to my team, Canelo team, all of them. Eddie Reynoso, Chepo Reynoso, being with me my whole life. And Al Jaimon, Luis de Cubas, thank you. Tom, thank you for everything. Eddie Hearn, thank you for make this happen too. And I just can't wait to Saturday. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Saúl Canelo Álvarez. Now I'm going to talk with both men as they get ready for their epic matchup on Saturday. Canelo, you could have fought anybody. I mean, obviously, it is well documented, the Canelo sweepstakes. But you decided on Edgar Berlanga, who is undefeated, 22-0, 17 knockouts. How did you decide to settle on having a guy in Edgar Berlanga that you will collide against during Mexican Independence Day fight weekend?
I fought everybody already. So I was in vacation, and Eddie called me. They was working in the fight, and I say, whatever, I don't care. I fight everybody. So, and I think it's very good fight for the people. Mexico versus Puerto Rico. It's a lot of history there, and I think it's a great match.
Now, for you, Edgar, when you got the call and they said, Canelo, you have an opportunity to fight Canelo, how long did it take you to say yes to that, regardless of the financial upside to it?
It was a lot of going back and forth in the beginning. Obviously because of the numbers and everything, got to make sense. But I came out here in May for when Munguia when Canelo fought Munguia, and the fans was going crazy. They was like, "We want you next for September. We want you next." The Mexican fans was going crazy, right? And then I got to a press conference in New York where Router. And, Louis was there, and I said, yo, man, got to make the fight happen in September. He reached out to Eddie. Eddie showed love and stuff, and, I sent my love back. And then, we started just working from there. After his victory with Munguia, we just started pushing the issue for the fight, and we got it. All glory to God.
What's it like being here? Because Canelo has done this many times over again. This is a huge step up for you, main eventing here in Las Vegas. For every prize fighter that puts on a pair of gloves, their dream is to be here in Las Vegas. As you drive up and down the strip and you see your name on the marquee, Canelo Berlanga, what does that mean to you?
It means everything to me. It's been written already. Like I said, right, I'm not supposed to be here. Everybody that's in front of me is all against me, And you got some believers that's out there that's believing me, but because of my accolades and, who I fought, this guy fought legends. You get what I'm saying? So it's bound to happen. You know, it's people's opinion. You know, it's bound to happen that people's going to say I'm going to get knocked out. People's going to say, you know, I'm not going to go the whole 12 rounds, you know, because of my career and who I fought. But, you know, it was God's plan, man, you know, for this to happen. You know, seeing my name right now, man, it's a blessing. You know, like I said, man, I want to thank PBC, Matchroom. I want to thank Eddie Hearns, my team, man. This is unbelievable right here.
Canelo, your first time fighting during Mexican Independence Day fight weekend, you got to go back to September of 2012 when you fought Josecito Lopez here nearby at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. You have fought and headlined on Mexican Independence Day fight weekend at least 5 times. How much does that mean to you? Because you are a very proud Mexican. You're an icon to Mexican fight fans around the world. How much does it mean for you to be main eventing and to be competing and displaying your talents during Mexican Independence Day weekend?
No, for me it's an honor fighting in those days. Mexican independence is very important for us, for Mexico, and I feel proud about representing my country, and I feel very special, and I feel proud, and it's an honor for me.
You fought Miguel Cotto, the great Miguel Cotto, back in November of 2015. So you have been fully entrenched, as your team talked about, of being involved in this rivalry. When you take on someone from Puerto Rico, is there any extra added motivation, any extra added juice because of the rich boxing rivalry between the two countries?
No, I always take my fights seriously, and I always train 100%, like in every fight, no matter who is in there. So I always have the same mentality, and this is no deception. I come in with the same mentality. I did a really good train camp, and we are ready.
Edgar, you have stated that you are predicting a 6th round knockout over Canelo Alvarez. Canelo has never been knocked out in his career. Why are you so confident coming into this matchup that you are going to end him not only in the fight abruptly, but in the first half of the fight?
You know, as boxers, right? You know, I'm a knockout artist, right? So every fighter wants to knock out. You know, who don't want to knock out? Everybody wants to knock somebody out, right? But you know, we know that he's a legend, and we know that we can't go in there and just trying to swing for the fence on him. You know what I'm saying? He got great IQ. He's intelligent. So we got to do it the right way. You know, 6th round knockout, yeah, that's what we going for, you know, and if it comes, it comes, but if we got to go the whole 12, then we doing that as well, you know, so we ready for everything that's around the board for this fight, for real.
Canelo, what are your thoughts when he says he's going to knock you out in the 6th round? You've heard predictions from guys before, but this one, 6 rounds or less, he's going to knock you out. Prepare to go 12 rounds, as he proclaims, but what is your response when he says he's going to knock you out in 6 rounds?
Like I always say, it's easy to say, but to do it is very difficult. And Saturday night is going to be very difficult for him, that's for sure.
You have said that you're going to knock him out in the 8th round. Why so?
I prepare myself for that, and winning by knockout is always feel really good. So I'm going to do my best to do it.
Edgar, what are your thoughts when he says he's going to knock you out in the 8th round?
I mean, you know, like I said before, right? Every fighter wants a knockout. You know, you got 2 guys that's coming to fight, man, and 2 guys that got cannons in them hands. So, you know, for me, it's like who's gonna land first? You know, who's gonna be the smarter man? Who's gonna have the better IQ? Who's gonna be intelligent in that ring? You know, everybody wants to knock out, right? Especially the guys that punch. Guys that punch want to knock somebody out. All my fights, I want to catch a knockout. I want to knock somebody out. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's gonna be a big fight. You know, this Saturday, man, it's gonna be something amazing. You know, right now it's real calm. You know, because it's the calm before the storm. You know what I'm saying? The fight is already sold. You know, we're going to do over 1 million pay-per-view buys, you know, and we're going to make the bag and make history, man. You know what I'm saying? And become a legend that day.
Is this the kind of fight that cements your status as being the next big Puerto Rican superstar? Because I feel like from a Puerto Rican standpoint that there is a void there, and this sort of cements your status. If you get your hand raised against the great Canelo Alvarez, that it stamps your legacy as to say, I am the next big Puerto Rican boxing superstar.
Oh, 1,000%. You know, right now Puerto Rico don't have a face, you know, and I feel like after this weekend, you know, I could be the face of Puerto Rico, representing the island. You know, they've been wanting that for so many years. You know, Cotto was the last guy to do it, and you know, now it's my turn to do it. You know, this weekend.
Canelo, what kind of statement are you looking to make against Edgar Berlanga on Saturday night from T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas? What kind of statement are you looking to make?
¿Qué tipo de mensaje está tratando de mandar en esta pelea?
No, you know, just show everybody I'm still the best.
When it comes to training and preparation, because you've been doing this for nearly 20 years, do you still love going to the gym and embracing it and really sort of diving into a new challenger, especially someone who's undefeated like Edgar Berlanga?
I love it. I love it. When I stop loving, I'm gonna tell you. You're gonna know. I still loving going to the gym and my training camp, my routine, all of this. So I enjoy boxing a lot.
The fans obviously love you. You are just beloved. As we had the grand arrivals yesterday, there will be a lot of people out for the weigh-in on a Friday outside of Toshiba Plaza here in Las Vegas, outside of T-Mobile Arena. But how much does the admiration and the love from the fans mean to you?
No, it means a lot. It means a lot, and I appreciate it a lot, and I'm grateful because, you know, they always support me no matter what, and thank you to everybody for always being there for me. And the only thing I wanted to show them is a really good win Saturday night.
Do you believe that he is sort of, you mentioned about your ring IQ, that because of the styles you've been in, the legends that you fought, that your ring IQ is going to be that much better than his because he is 22-0, 17 knockouts, hard-hitting puncher, but you have, as his trainer mentioned, 25 world championship fights under your belt.
You know, I never overlooking any fighter. I know he's young, he's a good fighter, he's strong. But I've been in there with everybody. So I have so much experience. I'm strong. I have a lot of talent, and I'm just the best.
In the list of guys that you fought, Canelo, where does he rank among the guys that you've competed against? Or do you want to say that after you compete with him?
Yeah, after Saturday, I can tell you.
Edgar, for you, in terms of being involved in this moment, you talked about, both you and your team mentioned about how you're the underdogs coming into this fight, that the media is writing you off, that they're saying you're not going to go the distance. Is that bulletin board material, does that give you any extra added motivation, or does it not matter because of the fact that you can change your life if you're able to defeat the great Canelo Alvarez?
Oh, 1,000%, man. You know, just everybody out there that's doubting me, you know, that's all motivation for us. You know, on social media, you know, the people out there that just, you know, talking bad about me and saying all this stuff, man, it's just about proving them wrong. You know, I've been in this position, you know what I'm saying, and I've been saying this over and over. You know, I've been at the bottom of the bottom, man, you know what I'm saying. We in New York, you know, the concrete jungle, man, is not easy coming from New York, you know. So I've been in a position where I could have, you know, 1,001, you get what I'm saying? And I'm cool with it, man. It's more fuel for me. It's more fire in my blood and my veins, you know, to go out there and perform and be great, man. You know, that's the whole point of boxing, right? You know, it's to go out there and make big fights happen at this magnitude. This is the top of the mountain. This don't get any bigger. You get what I'm saying? So now it's just about me becoming great that night, you know, and putting my last name in the history books forever, you know, and putting Puerto Rico on the map and putting all of the Latin community out there, you know. That's my goal, man. You know, this is all fuel for me. There's all fire in my blood, in my vein, you know, through the Holy Spirit, man. You know, we gonna shine Saturday night.
All right, Edgar, we wish you all the best of luck. Edgar Berlanga.
And I want to say something, too. Fuck Oscar De La Hoya, too. He's always, that motherfucker, he keep talking and talking. We're gonna smack him when we see him. You gotta stop. He's trying to fuck up the event.
All right, Edgar Berlanga, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the unbeaten from Brooklyn, proudly representing Puerto Rico. Now, Canelo Alvarez, the floor is yours. What's one final message you want to give to the fans, and also Edgar Berlanga ahead of your showdown from T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas?
No, espero que todos estén ahí apoyándome como siempre. Agradecido con cada uno de los mexicanos, de mis fans que siempre están apoyándome. Espero que disfruten de una gran pelea el sábado, de un gran triunfo y que todos gritemos ¡Viva México, cabrones! ¡Ánimo! Gracias.
¡Viva Puerto Rico, puñeta! I hope that everyone comes out and supports me just like they always do. I'm sending all my love to Mexico, and I hope that by the end of this fight, we can all yell out "Viva Mexico, cabrones!" like we always do.
All right, a round of applause to Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga, the final press conference Saturday night from T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas. PBC pay-per-view on Prime Video. Canelo defending his WBC, WBA, and WBO super middleweight.
Well, they can agree on one thing, right? They don't like Oscar De La Hoya. They're good with that. But, gentlemen, when you look at everything stacked against Berlanga, we've had the opportunity to speak with him. Check out ProBox TV, our interview with Edgar Berlanga. Download the app now and check it out. Are you guys believers? I'm not saying he's going to win, but it's going to be competitive, that he's there. Are you guys more believers than you were when it was signed? Let me start with you, Paulie. His attitude, his demeanor, he's saying the right things.
Not necessarily. You know, Edgar being a New York guy, you hope that he can perform there to keep himself in the mix, at least as a fellow New Yorker speaking myself. But it's tough, man. You know, I was looking for something here this final press conference, you know, because you're talking about knocking him out in the 6th round. And I remember I said a couple weeks ago, I said, it's different when you say it to the media when Canelo's not around. Now, when you're in the same room with Canelo and you're going to see him in a few days, are you still going to talk that way?
I saw you leaning forward when you were saying that, kind of looking.
Yeah, but because now you've got to commit to that. You can't go back on it, you know, because now he's in your face. Now, are you going to tell him you're going to knock him out in 6 rounds? That's I was waiting for something, some kind of fireworks to set off that way, and I didn't see it. You know, it's a lot more difficult to do it when the guy's in front of you, man. Trust me.
Chris, what's your thought? Is your stock on him higher or lower than when they first signed it?
Well, I think I was one of the only, not only guys, but I was one of the guys that I thought this fight was actually going to be entertaining, and I thought that Edgar was going to do a lot better than people were giving him credit for when it was first announced. But I kind of have to agree with you, Champ. I was expecting a lot more fireworks here. A very subdued press conference, which I'm not surprised from Canelo. He's done this a million times. You know, he's fighting a guy where he got a lot of flack for picking Berlanga, you know, as his opponent in this fight. So for him not to be a big talker, not surprised. Canelo's always at press conferences. Listen, he'll talk, but he's a counter talker. The kid will threw a swing at him, boom, he hit him back. Okay, like that's that. He's more of a counter press conference fighter than a guy who's going to lead. But I thought Edgar was going to push the limit a little more, the way that he did in past press conferences. This one very, very subdued, and it could be what he said. You know, it's just calm before the storm. You know, all the talking's done. It's just about time to fight. I can understand that, but I'm with you, Champ. I'm surprised. I thought we were going to get a little more fireworks from the Berlanga side.
Well, especially if you're Berlanga, this is the first time you're in this situation, right? So you've been talking, you've made predictions of knockouts. I can only go back on my own experience. I was determined not to be the nice guy when I fought Cotto. And all the way to the fight week press conference, I was like, I'm going to find something to piss him off with, because I've committed to this now. So now I have to be that guy. I can't show up fight week. And trust me, fight week, when you're going to see him in a few days, you're like, but you know what, bro? You're there to fight. You're not there to shake hands, be friends, kiss, and hug. So you're going to fight either way. Like Holyfield said the week he fought Tyson. If you remember the week he fought Tyson? If you're going back in 96, because you were young. I don't know if you remember, but Holyfield said some things, and then, Don Horn and Rory Holloway were like, you said this, and Holyfield's like, well, I didn't say that. And they were like, yeah, you did. And Holyfield's like, all right, bro, either way, I'm going to have to punch him in the face on Saturday, bro.
It's not going to get any worse, right?
We're going to fight. I mean, I don't have to tell you I did that, but we're going to fight, So I was looking for something there. Personally, if I was Berlanga, I would have actually zinged Canelo with, you think I'm the easy fight, that's why you pick me. You know what I mean? You wait till you see, wait till you get a load of me on Saturday night. I would have zinged him that way.
The disrespect angle.
Like the way the media has to play on it. You know what I'm saying? And listen, you're selling tickets too. When you do that, you got to figure something out that's going to work for your opponent, for the moment, to hype the crowd up, get the fans more interested. Nobody knows you that well. Again, when I was in that situation, I knew nobody knew me that much. My opponent, everybody knew him. So I'm going to let you get to know me a little bit, you know what I mean? And maybe draw some curiosity, and maybe make you ask some questions of my opponent. And then on fight week night, we find out. It may not go so well, but you know what? Now I have to live up to that talk. Now I put the weight on my shoulders to say, you know what? I got to perform Saturday either way.
Berlanga sold this fight for the last couple of weeks very well.
Yeah.
You know, and Canelo, he's at the point he doesn't need to sell anything. He shows up. It's Canelo. It's Canelo fight week. Everybody's going to come
You're
out.
selling yourself.
But that's what I mean. Berlanga's selling it. Canelo doesn't have to. Everybody knows who Canelo is, and who he's fighting. He doesn't care who if you don't like who he picked or not. But Berlanga's been selling himself, selling this fight very, very well. Today he didn't. Tonight he didn't. But also, this could be a tactic of Team Berlanga. There's still a lot of fight week left. You know, you got. It's Wednesday. We have Thursday. We got Friday. We got fight night on Saturday. None of this is really going to matter until Saturday. You know, that's really what's important.
Yeah,
but in terms of what you can do fight week,
this is the last time you talk. You know, I mean, the weigh-ins.
This is the last time we talk, but stuff happens at weigh-ins.
It does.
Stuff happens at weigh-ins. So I'm curious to see how the weigh-ins go because listen, weigh-ins are different. Like, you got that face-off, man. You got a couple of them at weigh-ins.
And you're pissed for making weight. We've all done it. You're dehydrated.
You're shirtless.
Right?
You're up there growling and flexing. I mean, it's a different thing. I'm curious to see because we still have more fight week to go. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not completely, you know, popping the balloon at this point or letting the air out of the balloon just because Edgar didn't step up to try and knock it out of the park this early because there's still a lot left to go.
What I'm also curious about is the other thing we see them face to face. Berlanga's a big boy. When they were face to face, you know, because one of the things you lose on TV, just we all work on television, is perspective. You just don't know how, and then you see them together and you go, "Oh my God, that is a freaking giant." Yeah. Berlanga's a big boy, Chris.
That's one of the first things I said, you know, when this fight was announced. Because listen, I've been around both these guys. I sparred with Canelo. I've been around Canelo many times.
Not a huge guy.
Then. Not a big guy. Shorter than me. Not a big guy. You know, he's filled out for the weight class, absolutely, but he's not a real 68-pounder. Then Berlanga, I've been around Berlanga a lot too. He's a big boy. I mean, height-wise, body-wise, everything. And then you add the fact that he's just so much younger. He's got hand speed. He has punching power. Having a punch is a thing. He's got it. He's got a punch.
And he did mention him a knockout puncher.
Yeah, he's a puncher. So you add the size, you add the youth, you add the hand speed, you add the fact that he can punch. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting characteristics to the matchup.
It is also fight night for us. That's right. Wednesday night here at the ProBox TV Event Center. Unfortunately, our main event, Lester Martinez, having an illness late. We have a new main event. Our co-main event, which I was very, very excited about, is now our main event. Vladimir Hernandez versus Raul Garcia. If you don't remember Vladimir Hernandez last time out, folks, one of the things we pride ourselves on, ProBox TV, competitive fights, right? Whether you're undefeated or not, competitive fights. Also, if you win, if you knock that opportunity out of the park, you're going to get another shot here. We're going to want you back. He was taking on Guido Schramm and face planted him with a shot. What happens? You come back, you get the big opportunity, Paulie.
Exactly, and he's spoken like a gentleman. You know, he's 15-6, and he's so, you know what? He's still coming back wins off ex-world champions like Julian Williams, knocking out Guido Schramm in a knockout of the year contender here. I mean, this was a zinger of a knockout here. And you know what? I'm ProBox. You just got to perform. You don't even have to win. You got to perform. Yeah. If you win, you win. If you lose, you still win. Yeah. You can't lose. Yeah. Raging Bull.
Yeah, very, very true. But, Paulie, you bring it up where a lot of guys, and you know, we've been on both sides of promotions our whole lives, right? 25 years for me, you know, longer for you guys, although I'm older. This idea of I've seen the wrong guy win, and you never hear from that guy again. It was like, oh, you didn't do what we needed you to do. You're supposed to make this guy look good, and you never hear from that guy again. They don't get rewarded. Here you get rewarded for
spoilers.
That. Right. They're almost like, oh, screw that guy, and they give him, you know, he's getting rewarded for a great performance. I think it's important to acknowledge.
Well, I think to both of your points, look at the main event on both sides. You got Vladimir Hernandez. Both guys had their last fights on ProBox TV.
Yes.
Both guys. So Raul Garcia, his last fight was on our air. He lost.
Yeah, it's the only loss of his career.
Only loss of his career.
Fought decision.
Fought a very an undefeated, very, very highly touted younger guy. Good fight. Split decision loss. Performed. Guess what? He's back. His very next fight, he's back here. It's been about a year, but this was his last fight. And now he's in a main event against Vladimir Hernandez, who, look at his record. It's not a sterling record by any means, but in terms of who he's fought.
But then you look at his record.
Right. When you look past the numbers,
you
look past those numbers, and you're like, wow, this guy's really been in there. And he's pulled off a bunch of big wins, and he always performs well. So you got these two guys who are both an advantage. They are on both ends of the spectrum when it comes to ProBox TV. If you perform, you get the next shot. And like you said, champ, you don't lose. If you win, you lose. If you win, you look good, especially as good as Hernandez is, you come back. If you lose, but you look good,
you still win.
You still win. Now we're going to see who's actually going to win tonight when these guys face each other.
To you, Chris, I'm going to start with you. The tactical disparity here in terms of Garcia's a boxer, very, very fluid, throws good combinations. Hernandez cut a little bit of the mold of the take two to give one, but we saw deceptive power last time. We brought physical pressure and had deceptive power. It's an interesting mix in this main event.
the power may be a little bit smoke and mirrors from the last fight, and we're going to look at that. Wow, is it, is this crazy? He's not a power puncher.
He's not.
He's a grinder. He's going to bust you up. He's going to be in your face. He's going to push you. He's going to hit you to the body. He's going to weaken you. And yeah, knockouts come from that. Not a puncher by any stretch of the means. But listen, the guy can punch, and he's been in with world-class guys. So those KOs are against top-notch opposition. So he's not really a puncher. Now Garcia, as you mentioned, much more technically sound. Definitely a better puncher. He's fought some good guys as well. A very interesting style matchup. At the end of the day, whenever Vlad fights, can he make you fight his fight? Because if we do, you're not going to be able to keep up. That's what Vlad does. Vlad sets a pace, and most guys can't keep up. He's in phenomenal condition. He is extremely durable, and he throws a ton of punches. If you can't keep up with him, you're going to have a long night, and you're probably going to be in the end of a losing decision.
Against Leonardo Ruiz, Garcia got drawn into the wrong kind of fight. Yeah. You guys on air, and I've watched that fight multiple times, you guys kept saying, God, he's getting in a phone booth brawl against a guy who does that when he was winning on the outside. Yeah. Is it about fight IQ in this? Getting not drawn into Hernandez's kind of fight, Paul?
Well, at the higher levels, everybody knows how to do everything, physically. It's the IQ that makes the difference. It's your decision-making in those pressure moments, in those tough moments, in those, am I going to do this or am I going to do that? There's different ways to navigate through a fight, and your ability to navigate through a fight when you have all the physical tools at a certain level, that separates you for the next level to whether you're going to stay at this level or you're going to go up to that higher elite level or at much higher level anyway. It's very, very small, but your IQ comes into play at these moments. You got to pick the right fight.
This is a make-or-break fight for Raul Garcia in his career. That's a really, really good point. I didn't really think about it like that because, it's been elevated to our main event. But, yeah, absolutely. Raul Garcia is a talented guy. He doesn't win this fight.
2 in a row.
Yeah, it's 2 in a row, and this is a guy that he's technically on paper supposed to beat.
Yeah, but on paper is not they fight. They fight in the ring.
And Vladimir is proof of that.
Tough.
He is 100% proof of that.
Yeah.
And what we love here at ProBox TV is brought 2 guys in who have shown that heart and the guts and the ability in the ring behind us. That's why they're back in our main event. That is tonight on ProBox TV. For all of us here, Jimmy Smith at the desk, Chris Algieri, Paulie
Sunglassed out, Chris Algieri.
Press conference ready,
Chris.
Press conference ready, Chris Algieri.
Conference Chris.
Conference Chris. For Conference Chris, Paulie Malignaggi, Jimmy Smith. That's right. ProBox TV will be on tonight. Remember, download the ProBox TV app. Never miss your boxing news and your Wednesday night fights tonight. Have a good one. We'll see you ringside.
Don't miss evenly matched, high-action fights. Wednesday night fights on ProBox TV. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to the App Store and Google Play.